Hey again everyone, and welcome back for yet another hopefully informative installment in our new figure showcase series. And if you're unfamiliar with my channel or my videos, this is just an opportunity for me to take a quick look at a new figure I'm adding into the collection. And more often than not, that will be a newer release, although there are exceptions now and then. But for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at a figure that dropped earlier than expected, and that is Baylan Skoll by Hot Toys in 6-scale format based on his appearance in the Disney Plus Star Wars Ahsoka show. Now, even if you're not a Star Wars fan or an Ahsoka fan, but are just a 6-scale collector, you probably know how insane Hot Toys went with this line in terms of the depth of characters they did. At this point, I think they're still announcing figures based on multiple appearances in the show, so I wouldn't be surprised to still get more. Now, Baylan himself, pivotal character in the show, and a standout to me in so many ways. So we also do have to acknowledge that he is based on Ray Stevenson's portrayal of Baylan, and sadly, Ray Stevenson did pass away. And look, he left behind some great pieces, including an appearance in the HBO series Rome, and he was even a version of the Punisher, so great actor and sadly gone too soon. But he did imbue the character of Baylan with so much personality. From the opening raid to free Morgan Elsbeth, he was an intimidating force, although he played Baylan as somewhat of a statesman. Even from the well-kept look of his armor, just elegant throughout, but still not someone to be trifled with, as evident by his confrontation with Ahsoka, where he wins, at least in that initial round, and honestly, even Ahsoka admits she can't beat him. So easily one of my favorite characters, and one I'm excited to pick up. So let's take a quick look at the package here from Hot Toys, and honestly, it's a bit of a bare bones release. So besides the figure itself, you get the lightsaber, and as now expected, you get two versions of the hilts, one that is set up for the lighter feature and one without. You also get two styles of orange blades, because I do think they went out of their way to show these in a more orange style as opposed to the red Sith color. So a very basic release with the standard base that has a replicated metallic floor on it. You get the cloak and a ton of hands, like a ton, but that's it. So let's jump into those accessories and take a closer look at them, starting with those hands. Like I said, you're getting a bunch, and what's interesting is most of them are just posed up to create force-powered poses, or some kind of pose holding the lightsaber. The hands themselves aren't overly intricate, just a leather glove with textured elements and a nice sculpted recreation of the surface to give you the impression of fabric. The back of the hand all include an armored plate as well that has a bit of a bluish green hue to them and some stippling almost like dents in the material. It's definitely a coarser armed look. The right hand does differ slightly in that it also includes a ring on the index finger, which is a green stone inlaid onto a gold band. Fairly decent look overall, and does again give the hand and the figure just a certain elegance to it. Now, next accessories are grouped together just so we don't go too long with this video. So we're taking a look at the lightsaber and the associated accessories. So you're seeing the adapters for the lighter features, including the connectors to both the display stand or the figure's belt. You also get two saber blades, the straight projection and the motion effect piece. And interestingly enough, to go along with the fact that Baylan isn't a Sith Lord like I mentioned before, these blades do have that more orange color to them. And then you do get the two lightsaber hilts, with the one with the wiring for the light up effect and the other standard version that can hook onto his belt. This one looks amazing. It's honestly a little bit more bulky than some of the others with the great pronged emitter top, and the hilt also includes a nice banded hilt. And it just looks hefty, almost feels like a broadsword, but great detail overall. Now let's jump into the figure and start with the sculpt. And like in most cases, I will preface this by saying that the lighting I have on this thing is a bit harsh, so it is washing out some of the detail. But at the same time, I do have to honestly say there was some softening between the prototype and the final version. It's slight, but because he is an older character, I do feel like it's a bit more noticeable. Now, as far as likeness goes, this definitely looks like Baylan, but straight on, there's just something that's a little bit off with the eyes. It might just be me, but I think that when you look at the sculpt from the profile, from the side view, the likeness definitely improves. And you can still see the facial features that are pretty amazing, like the wrinkles around his eyes and on his forehead. The beard and mustache are also impressively sculpted with some fine detail. And the hair is a nice clean cut that I think is a decent representation of the look on the show. So while I don't think the sculpt is 100% there, I do think it's very, very close. And overall, I think it's just another win for Hot Toys. The real thing that I'm realizing more and more that sets Hot Toys apart are the eyes. They look so real, and that's what really brings these figures to life. So great sculpt overall. Now the rest of the figure, Baylan is a stocky character, but not in an out of shape and kind of way. He just looks bulky, and that adds to the look of the character. I look at him, and even in the show, he seems to be a more regal presence. Deliberate with his movements, even during the lightsaber battles, right? There's no wasted moves. He's not too flashy, and I think the clothing he has mimics that well. First of all, the clothes aren't black. They're actually almost a dark green, and he looks like a medieval knight with the shirt that includes the array of clasps down his back. The arms do also include armor elements that are velcroed on and held in place by a strap that does unfortunately look like pleather. Looks great, but something to be aware of. And the sleeves are black but have nice stitching, a nice stitching pattern to them. Again, the thing that just keeps coming to mind is this is a medieval knight, just not with the full armor on. Even the belt with the nice green leaf or stone on the buckle held in place by some gold cabling or wiring has that belt loop neatly. That just makes him look very classy. Forearms do also include armored gauntlets that are similar to the shoulder pieces, and there's not really any rust on them, but more what looks like that green oxidation you get on silver due to age, so not something that's unkempt. Skirt is also nice with some wiring so you can pose him up, and the only hint of some distress for the figure is at the bottom where you do get some frayed edges. But looking at him, he looks like someone that can easily fit in with some high dignitaries. Boots are also great, and the lower leg guards are split so you do get some great posability out of him. And they similarly have an intricate bit of detailing on them, including some clips on the sides. Just an awesome looking figure overall. Now, as an alternate look, you do get his cloak, which he did wear for most of the show, and is on full display during that show's opening raid on the Republic ship. I'll be honest, it's interesting, especially draped over the armor. I didn't think of this at the time, but I should have tried to remove the shoulder armor to see if the cloak would drape a bit more naturally. But it looks good, just that it kind of splays out at the bottom and doesn't drape as naturally as I would like. And then the hood. I actually really like the hood with the faux leather piping at the edges, but it's definitely more me. I'm just a total failure when it comes to trying to get these to look natural. I'm sure with hours of trying I might get it there, but for now it's about as close as I can get it, and it doesn't look bad. But the other thing too, with the cloak on and draped around him, you do miss out on all those stunning details of the suit underneath and the armor. But this is where I do like the cloak. It can drape and fall behind him with the hood down, so you can get some stunning looks that also showcase the armor and the suit underneath, and just adds to the classiness of this particular figure. So look, beyond that, the lightsaber does in fact light up like all the other lightsaber characters, and he looks great, and even the motion effect piece lights up nicely, so I will be inclined to try and keep these lit up in my display. So closing thoughts on this guy, he's a simple figure, but there is some weight to him, and visually just a classy looking release, and I think it matches the character's on-screen persona, and it's just sad that we won't be able to see Ray Stevenson reprise the role again. But he did leave his mark on the show and in Star Wars, and it's great to have him in hand. And he really does continue this trend I'm seeing in Star Wars of the Sith, or at least non-Jedi lightsaber wielding characters, just having more of a visual flair. But if you're a fan of the show, I think you'll be happy with this guy. So let me know your thoughts, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll touch base on the next video.